The result indicates that the rainforest could be threatened through the 21st century by climate change in addition to deforestation. In 1989, environmentalist C.M. Peters and two colleagues stated there is economic as well as biological incentive to protecting the rainforest. 1 hectare in the Peruvian Amazon has been calculated to have a value of $6,820 if intact forest is sustainably harvested for fruits, latex, and timber, $1,000 if clear-cut for commercial timber, not sustainably harvested, or $148 if used as cattle pasture. 98. As indigenous territories continue to be destroyed by deforestation and ecocide, such as in the Peruvian Amazon, 99, indigenous peoples' rainforest communities continue to disappear, while others, like the Urarina, continue to struggle to fight for their cultural survival and the fate of their forested territories. Meanwhile, the relationship between non-human primates in the subsistence and symbolism of indigenous lowland South American peoples has gained increased attention, as have ethnobiology and community-based conservation efforts. In July 2019, the Ecuadorian court forbade the government to sell territory with forests to oil companies. 102. In September 2019, the U.S. and Brazil agreed to promote private sector development in the Amazon. They also pledged a $100 million biodiversity conservation fund for the Amazon, led by the private sector. Brazil's foreign minister stated that opening the rainforest to economic development was the only way to protect it. 103. Impact of early 21st century Amazon droughts. In 2005, parts of the Amazon basin experienced the worst drought in 100 years. 121, and there were indications that 2006 may have been a second successive year of drought. 122. A 2006 article in the UK newspaper The Independent reported the Woods Hole Research Centre results, showing that the forest in its present form could survive only 3 years of drought. 123. 124. Scientists at the Brazilian National Institute of Amazonian Research argued in the article that this drought response, coupled with the effects of deforestation on regional climate, are pushing the rainforest towards a tipping point where it would irreversibly start to die. 125. It concluded that the forest is on the brink of being turned into savanna or desert, with catastrophic consequences for the world's climate. Citation needed. A study published in Nature Communications in October 2020 found that about 40% of the Amazon rainforest is at risk of becoming a savanna-like ecosystem due to reduced rainfall. 126. A study published in Nature Climate Change provided direct empirical evidence that more than 3/4 of the Amazon rainforest has been losing resilience since the early 2000s, risking dieback with profound implications for biodiversity, carbon storage, and climate change at a global scale. 127. According to the World Wide Fund for Nature, the combination of climate change and deforestation increases the drying effect of dead trees that fuels forest fires. 128. In 2010, the Amazon rainforest experienced another severe drought, in some ways more extreme than the 2005 drought. The affected region was approximately 3 million square kilometers, 1,160,000 square miles, of rainforest, compared with 1,900,000 square kilometers, 734,000 square miles, in 2005. The 2010 drought had 3 epicenters where vegetation died off, whereas in 2005, the drought was focused on the southwestern part. The findings were published in the journal Science. In a typical year, the Amazon absorbs 1.5 gigatons of carbon dioxide. During 2005, instead 5 gigatons were released, and in 2010 8 gigatons were released. 129. 130. Additional severe droughts occurred in 2010, 2015, and 2016. 131. In 2019, Brazil's protections of the Amazon rainforest were slashed, resulting in a severe loss of trees. 132. According to Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, INPE, deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon rose more than 50% in the first 3 months of 2020 compared to the same 3-month period in 2019. 133. In 2020, a 17% rise was noted in the Amazon wildfires, marking the worst start to the fire season in a decade. The first 10 days of August 2020 witnessed 10,136 fires. An analysis of the government figures reflected 81% increase in fires in federal reserves, in comparison with the same period in 2019. 134. However, President Jair Bolsonaro turned down the existence of fires, calling it a lie, despite the data produced by his own government. 135. Satellites in September recorded 32,017 hotspots in the world's largest rainforest, a 61% rise from the same month in 2019. 136. In addition, October saw a huge surge in the number of hotspots in the forest. More than 17,000 fires are burning in the Amazon's rainforest, with more than double the amount detected in the same month last year. 137. In 2023, the World Bank published a report named A Balancing Act for Brazil's Amazonian States, an economic memorandum. The report stating that economic losses due to deforestation in Brazil could reach around $317 billion per year, approximately 7 times higher in comparison to the cost of all commodities produced through deforestation. Proposed non-deforestation-based economic program in the region of the Amazon rainforest. 7. 8. According to WWF, ecotourism could help the Amazon to reduce deforestation and climate change. Ecotourism is currently still little practiced in the Amazon, partly due to lack of information about places where implementation is possible. Ecotourism is a sector that can also be taken up by the indigenous community in the Amazon as a source of income and revenue. An ecotourism project in the Brazilian section of the rainforest had been under consideration by Brazil's State Secretary for the Environment and Sustainable Development in 2009 along the Arapuana River, in the Arapuana Sustainable Development Reserve. 139. Also, some community-based ecotourism exists in the Mamaraua Sustainable Development Reserve. 140. Ecotourism is also practiced in the Peruvian section of the rainforest. A few ecolodges are, for instance, present between Cusco and Madre de Dios. 141. In May 2023, Brazil's Bank Federation decided to implement a new sustainability standard demanding from meatpackers to ensure their meat is not coming from a legally deforested area. Credits will not be given to those who will not meet the new standards. The decision came after the European Union decides to implement regulations to stop deforestation. Brazil beef exporters said the standard is not just because it is not applied to landowners. 142. 21 banks representing 81% of the credit market in Brazil agree to follow those rules. 143. According to a statement of the Colombian government, deforestation rates in the Colombian Amazon fell by 70% in the first 9 months of 2023 compared to the same period in the previous year, what can be attributed to the conservation policies of the government. One of them is paying local residents for conserving the forest. 144.